Doris Washington had lived in the same house on Maple Street for 43 years. At 72, she still tended her garden with the same care she'd shown raising her 3 children as a single mother. Her neighbors knew her as the woman who brought soup when someone was sick and cookies during the holidays. That Tuesday morning started like any other. Doris was watering her roses when a white van pulled up to her driveway. 2 men in coveralls got out, carrying clipboards and wearing hard hats. "Morning, ma'am," the taller one called out. "We're from the city water department. We've had reports of contamination in this area. We need to check your pipes, it's urgent for your safety." Doris hesitated. She hadn't heard anything about water problems, but the men looked official enough. Their van had Municipal Water Services painted on the side, and they had badges clipped to their shirts. "I suppose you can come in," she said, though something felt off. Once inside, the men quickly revealed their true intentions. One grabbed Doris while the other began ransacking her home, looking for valuables. They demanded her jewelry, cash, and anything else worth taking. "Please," Doris said, her voice steady despite her fear. "Take what you want, but don't hurt me." The thieves spent nearly an hour going through her house, taking her late husband's watch collection, her grandmother's jewelry, and the emergency cash she kept in a coffee tin. Before leaving, they cut her phone line and warned her not to call the police for at least an hour, threatening to come back if she did. What the thieves didn't know was that Doris's youngest son, Marcus, was no ordinary man. Colonel Marcus Washington was a decorated Delta Force commander with 3 tours in Afghanistan and countless classified operations under his belt. He called his mother every Tuesday at exactly 2 p.m., a ritual he'd maintained for over a decade. When Marcus called that afternoon and got a busy signal repeatedly, his military instincts kicked in. His mother's phone never stayed busy that long. He tried her cell phone, straight to voicemail. Something was wrong. Marcus was at Fort Bragg, 4 hours away, but he had resources. Within minutes, he'd contacted local law enforcement through official channels and was en route, his training telling him to prepare for the worst. When he arrived at his mother's house and found her shaken but unharmed, relief flooded through him, followed immediately by a cold, calculated anger. His mother described the water department workers in detail, including their van and license plate number, which her sharp mind had memorized. "They seemed so convincing," she said, still trembling slightly. But something felt wrong from the start. Marcus held her hands. "You did nothing wrong, Mom. And this isn't over." Using his military connections and working with local police, Marcus quickly discovered that the van was stolen and the fake water department credentials were part of a larger scam targeting elderly residents across 3 counties. The thieves had hit 12 houses in the past month. The investigation revealed that the 2 men, Jerry Coleman and Rick Torres, were part of a crew that specifically targeted elderly homeowners, using various disguises from utility workers to home inspectors. They had a detailed system for casing neighborhoods and identifying vulnerable targets, but they had made one crucial mistake. They had chosen the wrong mother to mess with. Working within legal channels, Marcus coordinated with local and federal law enforcement. His military training in surveillance and tactical planning proved invaluable in tracking down the criminals. The investigation moved with precision and speed that impressed even veteran detectives. The breakthrough came when Marcus recognized that the thieves were likely using the same routes and methods for all their crimes. By analyzing the pattern of thefts and correlating them with stolen vehicle reports, they were able to predict the crew's next likely target area. 3 days later, Coleman and Torres were arrested while attempting to rob another elderly resident 2 towns over. The tactical team that apprehended them was led by Marcus, working in coordination with local SWAT. When they searched the thieves' hideout, police recovered stolen goods from dozens of victims, including all of Doris's items. The operation had been much larger than anyone realized, with the crew responsible for over 50 thefts across the region. During questioning, Coleman broke down and revealed the full scope of their operation, implicating 2 other crew members who were arrested within hours. At the trial, both men received significant prison sentences for their crimes. The judge noted the particularly heinous nature of targeting elderly victims and the extensive scope of their criminal enterprise. Marcus took leave to be with his mother during the trial and its aftermath. Doris, though shaken by the experience, showed the same strength that had carried her through decades of challenges. "I'm proud of you, son," she said as they watched the news report about the arrests. "But I was handling things just fine before you got here." Marcus smiled. "I know you were, Mom. You always do." The incident brought the community closer together. Neighbors organized a watch program, and the local police increased their outreach to elderly residents about common scams. Doris became an advocate for elderly protection, sharing her story to help others avoid similar situations. For Marcus, the experience reinforced why he served, not just to protect his country abroad, but to ensure that people like his mother could live safely in their own communities. The skills that made him an elite soldier had served him well in protecting the person who mattered most to him. The thieves had thought they were targeting a vulnerable elderly woman living alone. They never imagined that her son was a man trained in the most sophisticated military tactics in the world, with the resources and connections to bring swift justice. As Marcus often told his fellow soldiers, you can take the man out of the mission, but you can't take the mission out of the man. Protecting others, especially family, wasn't just his job. It was who he was. Doris Washington returned to her quiet life on Maple Street, still tending her roses and looking out for her neighbors. But now everyone knew that behind her gentle demeanor was the unshakable support of a son who would move heaven and earth to keep her safe. The message was clear: some people you just don't mess with, and their families are off limits too.